Good morning and welcome to New Mexico Rising, your go-to lifestyle show for everything happening right now across the state. I'm Kayla, and this week we've got this.
Emotions one way or another. And in this case, we take them on a thrill ride.
All that and more right here on New Mexico Rising.
A parent's worst nightmare is not knowing the truth about what happened to their child. That's the mystery at the center of Netflix's new thriller, I Will Find You. The series follows a father serving time for his son's murder who suddenly receives evidence that his child may still be alive, setting off a desperate search for answers. Today, we're joined by Milo Ventimiglia, who stars as Hayden in the limited series. Welcome to the show, Milo. How are you?
Well, Dan, how are you this morning?
I'm doing good. For people who haven't started I Will Find You yet, what grabbed you about this story and made you want to be part of it?
The complexity, as well as, being a parent myself and God forbid anything happens to your child, you're going to go to the ends of the earth to find out what's going on, and hopefully get your kid back to safety. But I found a lot of common ground with Harlan Coben and Robbie Hull, our showrunner, and was excited to do scene work with Sam Worthington and Britt Lauer and Jonathan Tucker and Logan Browning and everybody involved. Shot McBride, who, it's funny, like in my 30 years of filmmaking, like I've been on set with just about everybody on the cast to work, to be reunited and work again. So it's just go spend a summer with my friends making something cool.
Hayden becomes involved in a mystery that's filled with twists and secrets. What can you tell us about your character and where he fits into this story?
So Hayden Payne, I play a wealthy philanthropist who was previously connected to Britt Lauer's character, Rachel, who is the previous sister-in-law, former sister-in-law to David, Sam Worthington's character. When he breaks out of prison and goes on the hunt for his son, I come into the fold as someone who's just wanting to help. I'm there to help, use my resources, my time, whatever I can to help this man find his son.
And the series, it balances suspense, family drama, and a lot of emotional stakes. What was it like bringing those different elements together as an actor?
We're constantly doing that, role to role, job to job, show to show. You're always bringing together that complexity. But, this one was delicate because of what we were set to dance around, the real mystery, the people that were involved in this covering up of a boy who was killed. It was just a complex role, but it was, very exciting to be a part of.
Okay, so without giving anything away, what do you think audiences will be talking about after they finish I Will Find You?
Never saw it coming. God, that was fun. I think I want to watch it again to see if I can figure out if they tipped their hat in any way in the beginning of the show. It's just a great ride. It's entertaining, self-contained, and a lot of heart.
Hey, I want to thank you for being here today. I Will Find You is now streaming on Netflix. You can find the series and watch all the episodes at netflix.com or on your Netflix app. Hey, Milo, I want to thank you for joining me today.
No problem. Thanks, Dave.
Summer usually means more free time for kids, which often means more time online as well. For parents, keeping up with who their children are talking to, what they're seeing, and how much time they're spending online can feel like a full-time job. Joining us today is Nikki Jackson Colasso, Vice President of Public Policy at Roblox, to talk about their new tools designed to help families stay involved and set healthy boundaries. Welcome to the show, Nikki. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me.
Okay, how can these new accounts and expanded parental controls help parents better manage their kids' online gaming practices?
Yeah, well, for parents who may not know, Roblox is not just one game. It's a platform full of games and experiences, some of which are just meant for fun and some of which are meant for learning. And what we've announced this week are 2 new kinds of Roblox accounts that are designed to grow with kids and kind of put them in the most age-appropriate environments possible. The first of those is Roblox Kids, which is designed for children 5 through 8. It has a blue background so parents can easily identify it. And I think of this a little bit like a bike with training wheels. So in Roblox Kids, chat is off by default, And the kinds of content that kids have access to is much more age appropriate. It's kind of that mild, minimal content that we associate with 5 to 8 year olds. Roblox Select is the next type of account we've announced. That is for children ages 9 through 15, and they get slightly more access, slightly more communication privileges. They have to complete an age check so that we know, who they are, how old they are. And if they decide to chat, it's always going to be with people that are in similar age groups. So we announced earlier this year an age check technology to better protect communication across Roblox. We're using that same technology now to put kids either into the kids bucket or the select bucket so that we know exactly what protections to offer them.
One concern I hear from parents all the time is who their kids might be interacting with online. What should families know about chat safety and managing those connections?
It's a great question. And, I'm a parent, so I completely get it. What we want parents to know is that chat on Roblox has always been filtered, it's always monitored, but with the advent of Roblox Kids and Select accounts, we are changing the model. So in Roblox Kids, like I said, chat will be off by default. And in Roblox Select, for kids that are ages 9 through 15, they will have some ability to chat that will grow with them over time, but they'll always be chatting with people who are in a similar age group. The benefit of using an age check technology means that we know how old people are so that we can create kind of a walled garden for our kids.
And with summer break here and screen time most likely increasing for all kids, what are some practical ways families could set healthy boundaries?
This is a great question. As a parent, we love summer because there's lots of free time, and summer is also really challenging because there's lots of free time. So first of all, we want parents to know that they're always in the driver's seat. They will make the best decisions for their kids about, how much time to spend online, whether that means no Roblox or some Roblox or a lot of Roblox, and we support that. If parents decide that, Roblox is a good choice for their family, we always like to point out that we have a learning hub. Parents can just Google Roblox Learning Hub, and it's a hub that's full of more educational content. So things like exploring space travel or learning a new skill or, learning about science. And so they're getting something educational, but still getting that Roblox experience that we know kids love. And also, parents do have screen time controls on Roblox that they can set so that children, are spending as much time online as is appropriate for them and for their family.
All right, where can our viewers go to learn more?
Best place to go to learn more is roblox.com/safety center.
Nikki, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me.
AI is helping us work faster and solve problems in new ways, but it's also giving scammers more sophisticated tools to work with. From cloned voices to convincing impersonations and highly targeted messages, experts say the threat landscape is evolving quickly. Joining us today is Jeff Lungelhofer, Chief Security Officer at Coinbase, to explain what's changing and what consumers can do to protect themselves. Welcome to the show, Jeff. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Dan.
So how is AI changing the way scammers operate today?
AI is supercharging scams. It is gone are the days of these sort of generic, obvious scams, the Nigerian prince, the emails. Those days are over. Now, scams are being very specifically targeted at you, the potential victim. They're going to reference your job, your interests, your background, your family. And these targeted scams that just 6 to 8 months ago used to take days for an adversary to set up, now they can run a scam like this with the click of a mouse button.
So what is the most important thing people need to understand about AI-driven scams right now?
Look, they feel totally real. It may look and sound like a member of your own family, somebody that you know personally. There's going to be that sense of urgency involved, like, hey, you got to act now, now, now. And the best defense when you sort of feel that pressure, particularly related to money, is take a breath. Take a step back from the stressful situation, hang up the phone, and give yourself time to verify everything before you act.
So are there any new red flags people should be watching for that are specific to AI-powered scams?
Look, the new flags are the old flags. If your financial institution calls you for any reason, I don't care what they know, the most important thing that you can do is hang up the phone. Then you can open the website directly going to that company, that financial provider, put it right into the browser. Don't search for it. Go straight into the browser, get the phone number, and then you call them back. You verify that you're contacted the correct institution. My general advice is anytime anyone calls you, I don't care if it's your own child and they're asking you for money, immediately hang up the phone, then call them back and verify that you know who you're speaking with.
So what practical steps can consumers take to better protect themselves in this environment?
Yeah, look, two things real quick. One, remember, anyone can be a victim. Educate yourself. Two, if you're a family, please, today, do it today. Set up a safe word with your family. It could be something as simple as orange or frog or cloud, but that's a word that everybody can remember so that if your child, your spouse, your partner does need to contact you in an urgent situation, you can ask them, hey, what's the code word? It's a good way to authenticate the person who's calling you so that you know you're not being scammed.
All right, before we let you go, are there any other insights you'd like people to keep in mind?
Yeah, look, never underestimate how far a scammer is willing to go to part you from your hard-earned money. They could go so far as to pretend that they're your child. They'll mimic their voice, their video, and claiming that they've been kidnapped, that they're in a panic, begging for ransom money. Again, step back from the situation, verify, use that safe word, and think and verify before you act.
All right, so where can viewers go for more information?
Head over to coinbase.com/blog. We have tons of tips and tricks there for you to stay safe.
Jeff, I want to thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Some mysteries stay hidden for decades, and sometimes even longer. A new season of Expedition Unknown follows explorer Josh Gates as he travels the world chasing lost civilizations, legendary treasures, and some of history's biggest unanswered questions. One of this season's most remarkable discoveries involves a long-lost World War II shipwreck connected to more than 1,000 missing Allied prisoners of war. Josh Gates joins us now. Welcome to the show, Josh. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
All right, you've spent years investigating mysteries around the world, but this season opens with the discovery of Hofuku Maru. What was it like to be part of a search that carried so much historical and emotional weight?
This is an amazing experience. I'm really excited for folks to see the season premiere. This ship is what's known as a hell ship. It's a part of World War II that myself and I'm sure many people really didn't know much about. These were prison ships that were used by the Japanese to transport Allied POWs around the Pacific. And we work with this incredible organization. These guys you see there on the screen, they're part of a group called the Hell Ships Memorial Foundation. These guys have spent years digging through archives, looking for clues as to the location of this ship, the Hofuku Maru. And after 80 years of being lost, their research has led to it being found. So for us to be able to take our viewers there and get a firsthand look at a ship where 1,000 POWs went down is a really emotional thing and a really thrilling expedition that a lot of hard work went into for these guys. And so I'm thrilled to feature their hard work on the show.
And that story of Japanese hell ships isn't really something many people learn about in school. What surprised you most as you dug into this chapter of World War II history?
Well, the scale of it. I mean, there were about 135 of these hell ships that transported, over 100,000 POWs during the war. And many of these ships were sadly bombed by U.S. forces. The Japanese disguised these ships within their military convoys, and so they became unintentional targets for the Allies, making this kind of a doubly tragic story. But the fact of the matter is there are thousands of these POWs still out there that have not been found. And so this is an opportunity to really fulfill that promise of no man left behind, right? And to go and search for them. They've been waiting all this time. So really shocking numbers of people that are still out there and that there are still big discoveries like this to be made from World War II. So really exciting stuff.
And your team helped locate a wreck that had been lost for more than 80 years. Can you walk us through how modern technology and old archival research came together to make that discovery possible?
Yeah, so the real crux of the discovery is the good old-fashioned sleuthing that was done by this researcher, John Dureski, who's part of the Memorial Hell Ships Foundation. This guy went digging not just in the American archives, but in the Japanese archives. And it was the Japanese archives that offered a clue as to where this ship sank. Many people thought that it sank about 30 miles away from where it was found. Using that research, sonar survey was done. A wreck was located on sonar. We then went out and dove down to really get eyes on this wreck. And to begin photogrammetry, which is a photography scan of the wreck to really see it from all angles and to kind of bring it back to life in a way. So yes, it's this combination of good old-fashioned detective work and some high-tech tools.
And this season also takes viewers from underwater wrecks to ancient civilizations, hidden tunnels, and lost treasures. Was there one adventure that pushed you furthest outside of your comfort zone?
Oh, I mean, we go to Mexico in this season searching for the story behind one of Mexico's oldest civilizations, the Zoque. They went way out into the jungles in the Chiapas region of Mexico. This is a really wild part of the Mexican interior and huge caves, huge cliffs. So going underground in Chiapas into the world of the Zoque was hugely demanding, but also just about as exciting as you can imagine. Going out into these caves that nobody has explored to find artifacts that have been sitting down there, offerings that have been sitting in the dark for centuries.
And after all these years of exploring the unknown, what keeps you chasing the next mystery, and what can viewers expect from this new season?
I think it's the same thing that had me interested in this when I was watching The Goonies as a kid. These stories are just naturally incredibly engaging. What kid doesn't dream of finding pirate treasure, secret tunnels, lost civilizations? These stories just have such a natural hook, and they're real. This is real history. And so I think for me, I'm like a kid in a candy store out there. The opportunity to go and explore these stories is the thrill of a lifetime. And to share that with our viewers is really what it's all about.
And also, it looks like you're coming to town on January 10th. What can we expect to see over at Popejoy?
Yeah, so an evening of legends and mysteries and adventure. If you're a fan of the show, it's an opportunity to dig a little deeper, go behind the scenes. And if you're just finding the show, but you love adventure, and who doesn't, it's a chance to listen to some awesome myths and legends and stories. And so folks can get tickets to that at joshgates.com. It may not be listed yet. Those shows will be coming very soon onto the website there. But it will be an awesome evening of adventure for the whole family. So if you have kids that are into adventure, or if you grew up as a fan of Raiders and Goonies and all that stuff, it's going to be a super fun evening.
Josh Gates, I want to thank you for joining me today. For more information on Expedition Unknown, episode schedules, and behind-the-scenes content, visit discovery.com. And for tickets to Josh Gates' live show, visit joshgates.com. Josh, I want to thank you for joining me today.
Hey, thank you so much. Good to see you again.
As summer gets underway, more teens are spending time behind the wheel, but the weeks between Memorial Day and Labor Day are often called the 100 deadliest days because crash rates involving young drivers rise significantly during that time. Today, we're joined by John Way from State Farm Insurance to talk about why summer can be especially dangerous for teen drivers and what parents can do to help their families keep safe on the road. Welcome to the show, John. How are you?
Doing great, Dan. Thanks for having me, man.
Okay, so we hear the phrase 100 deadliest days every summer. Why is this stretch between Memorial Day and Labor Day such a dangerous time for teen drivers?
Yeah, appreciate you asking. Appreciate the time to talk about this important topic, Dan. And I'll be honest with you, until I was the father of a teenage driver myself, I wasn't paying much attention to this notion of 100 deadliest days, but it's a very real thing and something we need to be paying attention to. And that is the period between Memorial Day and Labor Day. According to the CDC, car crashes are already the leading cause of death for American teens, but during the 100 deadliest days, teens are 20% more likely to be involved in a fatal crash than they are at any point throughout the remainder of the year. And Dan, it's probably not surprising, right? Step back and think about some of the circumstances that we find ourselves in. School's out, kids have more free time. There's a lot more unsupervised driving. We know that our teens are not great at recognizing risk and are far more likely to underestimate the risk of driving in certain situations. And so it's a real challenge for us. A couple of stats I'd highlight for your viewers and listeners that I think really underscore the challenge. Nighttime driving for our teens is incredibly risky. The fatal crash rate for our teen drivers at night is 3 times as high as that for an adult driver. So not that we want our kids staying home in the evenings, right? We want them to go out and have a good time, but they just need to be aware of how dangerous that particular time of night is to be driving. And underscoring that point, nearly 45% of all car crash deaths among teens occur between 9 o'clock p.m. and 6 o'clock a.m. So again, underscoring the importance of vigilance at night. And Dan, the one stat that truly kind of blows my mind, recognize that we're in 2026, and we've been talking about this for a long time. Among surveyed high school students, 43% admitted to not often wearing a seatbelt when riding in a car driven by somebody else. And really concerningly, among teenage drivers and passengers killed in a car crash in 2020, a full 56% were not wearing a seatbelt. And so for as long as we've been talking about seatbelt safety and the importance of clicking that thing when you get behind the wheel, we've still got a long way to go.
And distracted driving continues to be a major concern. How do cell phones contribute to risky driving behavior? And what's the connection between phone use and speeding?
It's a real problem. Distraction is making all of these risky behaviors that much worse. When you're taking your eyes off the road, you're not paying attention to the things that you need to be paying attention to. And we know that 2 seconds eyes off the road doubles your risk of getting into a car crash. And I think anybody can understand the cell phone has made that level of distraction way higher than it has been at any point in our human history. The cell phone is tied to our hand most every waking hour of the day. It's how I do my work. It's how I connect with my children and my wife. It's how I read the news. It's how I understand what's going on around me. And it's increasingly difficult for us to detach from doing that behind the wheel. And interestingly, Dan, there's been a bit of a societal shift here in our level of comfort with doing exactly that. It used to be that most drivers would pull out the cell phone when they were seated at a stoplight or they were moving through, slow bumper to bumper traffic in the middle of the city. A recent study by the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety has shown us that drivers are more likely to use their phones now while they are speeding, with this kind of inherent feeling of safety because the cars have automatic cruise control and anti-lock brakes. These are all wonderful things, but it's making us feel like we can be doing other things other than paying attention to the road. And I think underscoring this point, one last statistic for you, Dan. Some of our own internal work here at State Farm showed that nearly 20% of drivers, as they think about going on an extended road trip with their family, right, spend 3 hours driving to the city, 1 in 5 of us plan to get our phone out and engage in that way, recognizing we're probably going to be bored on that car trip. And so call to action for all of us. How do we do a better job of getting locked in behind the wheel, paying attention to our passengers and less attention to the cell phone?
You've spent a lot of time studying driver behavior. What's something experienced drivers often wish they'd known before they were teenagers behind the wheel?
I think about this a lot right now, Dan, as I'm educating my 15-year-old daughter about how to make right choices. There's a lot that I reflect back on as, gosh, I wish my parents would have been more sincere or more aggressive with that. First and foremost, and back to the prior point, our teenagers don't do a good job of processing risk or thinking past the immediate here and now. And so continually reminding them that when they get behind the wheel, when they put the keys in the ignition, their decisions and their actions have impact much broader than just what's going on in front of that vehicle. Think about the pedestrians walking down the sidewalk. Think about the other roadway passengers. There's a lot that we need to be thinking about that's far past ourselves. Secondarily, and as we were just talking about, asking my daughter and all teens to be hyper-focused on the wheel and avoiding the cell phone. Put it down. I'm trying to make it a practice to put it on Do Not Disturb every time I get in the car and set it down in the cup holder. I'm trying to actively demonstrate that behavior for my kids and talk about it with them. Similarly, and this is one I never thought about when I was a kid, but I can reflect back and see myself in this setting. If you find yourself as a passenger in an unsafe setting, speak up. Sometimes the driver isn't aware that they're doing things that aren't particularly safe, and we owe it to them to let them know that we don't feel particularly safe. And then the oldie but goodie, but again, as mentioned, we still have a long way to go. Buckle up. Put that seatbelt on. We have this interesting societal challenge in which we're both constantly distracted and we underappreciate how risky these behaviors are. If we as parents aren't reminding our kids of this routinely, I'm not sure who else is going to. And it may sound like a broken record at times, but please, please, please put on that safety belt.
All right, so where can people go for more information and resources on teen driving safety?
As always, would appreciate your viewers and listeners to head out to statefarm.com, where we've got a lot more tips and tricks around distraction and how we can all do better, as well as a guide for parents and teens at generationdistractionfree.org.
John Way, I want to thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for your time, Dan.
Have you ever taken a dream opportunity only to realize something feels very wrong? That's the setup behind Strung, the new Peacock thriller from acclaimed filmmaker Malcolm D. Lee. The film follows a gifted violinist who becomes entangled in the world of a wealthy and mysterious family, where secrets seem to be hiding around pretty much every corner. Malcolm is the director behind favorites like the Best Man franchise and Girls Trip, and now he's taking audiences somewhere much darker. Malcolm, welcome.
Man, I love that intro. That was awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Thank you for that. Strung starts with a talented musician getting what seems like the opportunity of lifetime. What drew you to the story and the tension at the center of it?
You know, when I read Alan McElroy's script, I could not put it down. You know, it just was a page turner. I was talking to it out loud. It was speaking to me. I was speaking back to it, and I just said I gotta dip my toe into this genre of thrillers and this erotic psychological thriller.
You've built a career directing comedies, dramas, and ensemble films that audiences really connect with. What was exciting about stepping into the thriller genre with Strung?
You know, I think audiences still want to see these kinds of movies, you know, and I love the opportunity to do something different and outside of my comfort zone. And not necessarily outside of my comfort zone, but something different that I hadn't done before. And it was nice to not have to cut to the joke, you know, and just be able to tell the story with a different pacing, a different tone. And I want to challenge myself in that regard, get the right cast and get the right crew behind me. And this crew that I've been working with has been a crew that I've been with before and collaborated on many, many things. But to work with this cast was amazing as well.
Chloe Bailey carries so much of the story as Layla. What made her the right choice for this role, and what did she bring to the character?
You know, Chloe, I hadn't worked with before, but I knew about her, and I thought she would be a great asset to for this role. And when I saw her, and when we got to talking and we got to know each other a little bit more and work together, I was amazed by what she was able to do, because Layla has to do so many things in this movie and play so many different colors, you know, from being emotional to being vulnerable to being sexy and maternal. And all kinds of colors that she had to play, that I was just like, wow, she really, really brought a lot to the table. And I'm very, very proud of the work that she did in this movie. She's really, really talented.
One of the things that makes this film work is the atmosphere and sense of there's something not quite right. How did you approach building that suspense without giving too much away?
Yeah, you know, the thing is, everybody in this movie, every character in this movie is hiding something. You know, it's most, you know, emblematic by the little girl that she's tutoring, Zuri, with her actual mask. But everyone in this movie is masking something, whether it's trauma or grief or something to that effect. And I wanted to make sure that everything on the surface looked presentable and comely and beautiful and opulent. And so it started with the house. And you see this inviting environment that is a little antiseptic, but just like, oh, it's lush and it's beautiful. But underneath all of that, you find that there's some dark things.
And looking at your career, you know, The Best Man, Girls Trip, and now Strung, what continues to inspire you as a storyteller, and what kinds of stories are you most interested in telling next?
Yeah, you know, I am incredibly blessed to have the opportunity to get paid for what I love to do. And I want to keep challenging myself and bringing entertainment to audiences. That's the main thing. I like to have to entertain people and make them feel good, make them feel, you know, emotions one way or another. And in this case, we're taking them on a thrill ride. And in the future, I hope to do, you know, the same kinds of things, you know, whether it's with a thriller, whether it's a comedy or a musical or a drama. I love, you know, working with actors and bringing a vision to life for audiences to enjoy.
Malcolm, I want to thank you for joining me today. Strung is now streaming on Peacock. You can watch the film and learn more by visiting peacocktv.com. Malcolm D. Lee, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks, Dan.
And that's going to do it for this week's episode of New Mexico Rising. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next week on New Mexico Rising.